Ever wonder why some families just stay healthy year-round? As parents, we're always trying to do the best that we can for our kids, and we might think that just having a healthy diet is enough. But what if I told you there's 3 simple supplements that every healthy family should probably be adding on just to make sure that they have their bases covered? Hey, I'm Dr. Will, family wellness chiropractor, and I've been helping families unlock their God-given healing potential for over a decade. And when I was first in school and I got really all into this health and nutrition thing, I was hardcore all about a paleo diet. And when I was in that phase, I thought that supplements were just your doctor trying to sell you a bunch of crap that you didn't need on a daily basis. I thought you could get everything from a healthy diet, and you can, if you're perfect about it. The truth is, that theory did not survive exposure to the real world. When I was in school and all I had to do was study and eat healthy and work out, then that was easy. I've learned over the years, between a growing family and a very busy practice, that there's a couple of bases that I need to make sure that I have covered, even if I have a perfect and ideal diet. And there's really only 3 main ones you can throw in. So let's just get this out of the way. Vitamin D, probiotics, and healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Some folks need to throw in a multivitamin. If you do not have a perfect healthy diet, then throw in a daily multivitamin just to make sure you got everything covered. But those 3 main ones are the simple ones. Let's start with vitamin D. Most people think that if, I'm outside a little bit, I should get enough of my vitamin D. And you might be right if it's the summer and you are outside for hours a day. However, most of us spend way more time inside than we do outside, and therefore our body needs a little bit more exposure to that. Vitamin D plays a critical role in immune system, bone strength, mood regulation, and when paired with K2, it actually helps direct calcium more towards the bones than to our arteries, which is probably a good idea overall. So we need to make sure that we've got some good vitamin D. And yes, again, if you have perfect days where you have great sun exposure, then you might be getting enough. However, most adults in America are vitamin D deficient, particularly during the winter months, especially when you start to climb up in the latitudes. We live in the Midwest here. It's dark for 14 hours a day in the month of January. We need to have some extra vitamin D exposure. The average adult does really well with around 5,000 IUs. Look this up, don't take my word for it, but on average, most adults can do with a couple of thousand IUs of additional vitamin D on a daily basis. Up to 10,000 is considered safe for most people. Talk to your doctor if you're worried about it. I take 5,000 on a regular basis, year round, and I usually double that during the darkest period of the winter months here in Michigan. When we look at omega-3s, you might be thinking, oh wow, that's only for old cardio patients. Well, the truth is, all of us need omega-3s. Omega-3s are vital for brain function, eye function, and overall emotional and mental health and well-being at every single age. In fact, omega fatty acids are critical for brain development in a child. If you look at the box, I don't like formula, but if you look at the box of formula, they actually include omega fatty acids into that for brain health and development. And so making sure that our kids have exposure to good fatty acid profiles is incredibly important. Now, this, again, doesn't have to be super complicated. You can just make sure that you're eating grass-fed, grass-finished meats, and that's going to satisfy a fair amount of your requirement. You can make sure that you're supplementing with nuts and seeds that have good omega-3 fatty acid profiles. But again, if you don't have all of those bases covered, taking a supplement for that is a good idea. Fish oil is the classic one. It just needs to be a really high quality one because we don't want garbage into our bodies. If we're trying to supplement, make sure it's a good quality supplement. And we can even do this for our kids as well. Obviously, they come in pill form, but if you get the actual liquid oil form, you can throw just a little bit, tablespoon into a smoothie that you might be making for breakfast, and your toddler is going to love it. I know ours does. Probiotics are the other thing that most of us need a good exposure to. If you are the average American, you've had a relatively unhealthy diet at some point in your life, and you've probably had a round of antibiotics at some point in your life, and you drink fluoridated water, which is probably killing some stuff in our stomach as well. So we want to make sure that we're replacing and encouraging a healthy gut microflora, microfauna For most of us, you used to think that it was just for people with stomach issues. Turns out that healthy gut bacteria influences our immunity, it influences our mood, and even our skin health. So we want to make sure that this is nice and balanced as well. Now, you can take an actual supplement to probiotic as well. You should mix those up every 3 to 6 months, get some different exposure, or you can just make sure that you're eating some fermented foods that are going to be great for you. So like a good fermented raw yogurt is going to be excellent source for this. Sauerkraut is another one. So any fermented vegetable is oftentimes going to have a decent probiotic profile. This is something that we've now do in our family. It turns out our toddler loves sauerkraut. And so we keep sauerkraut in the fridge and we all have a little bit of it on a semi-regular basis. And that keeps our guts moving nice and well, right? So we want to make sure that we're covering our bases. If you have an absolutely perfect diet, yes, you probably don't need to take anything else. Stop watching right now. However, if you're anything like us and we are like 90% good on our diet and our nutrition, you want to make sure that you're covering your bases with these other things. Multivitamin if you need to, but most adults are going to do really well with vitamin D3 with a K2 in order to make sure it goes to the right places. Some omega fatty acids. Omega-3 is the important one, and also making sure that we've got some decent probiotic exposure. Comment below which is the one that you're going to try today. Are you already doing all of these? Let me know. Like maybe there's some other supplements that you guys have questions about. I'd love to hear it in the comments, and maybe that's the next thing that we'll do a deep dive into.